محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير. So this ayah 109 from Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jal telling us that وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Kathir, a lot of the people of the book, وَدَّ, they wished. And I was listening to Imam Sha'rawi, mashallah, and he say Allah Azza wa Jal never generalized, because there could be one or two. There's enough one or two to stand up and say, no, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I'm not one of them. So he said a lot. So a lot. When he generalized, will be like لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. Everybody who say Allah is Jesus, he is kafir. So you have a chance to say, no, I don't believe he is God. He's a human. So you're out of being kafir. The ayah which sound general, when there's no objection, when there is, like Allah said, لَيَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. He generalized. And there's a challenge now in the Quran, and I mentioned that to you before. If you don't, some come out and say, I love the Palestinian, I love the Arab, we'll give them Palestine back. They don't say it even privately. We met with a lot of Jews privately, and they don't say it. They carry on saying, no, it is because of they have no lands, they were persecuted, the Holocaust, and they divert you away from being cornered to say, we agree with you. Now, they killed quite few Palestinians, 9 or more, 2 days ago, and then come the Jew out on the social media or in the paper or in the news, say we have nothing to do with them. I mean, we came out when Bin Laden hit the Twin Tower, when there were massacres, unjustified, and terrorists, we always came out and said, no, we don't agree. They're not talking on our behalf. They're not talking in our name. Islam is not like this. But subhanAllah, the majority of the Jews, they don't. If they do, we don't hurt them. So وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. A lot of people of the book, they loved to turn you away from your religion and take you back. يَرُدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ. After you believed, they wished to turn you back, kuffar, unbelievers. And here Allah said, حَسَدًا مِنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ, because of the selfish envy. I did actually come across some Christian in my work who said, we wish to be Muslims. And what stopped you? So why they want us to go back to kufr? Why even all the atheists, all the Hindus, Sikh and things, they don't want us to be Muslims? Why is that?
Because of hasadan.
This is what Allah said. حَسَدًا مِنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Why they would have hasad? What do we have they can't have? They don't, they just
Believe Allah.
They believe, yeah. And what else? They don't cherish the belief. They don't see the belief as something important, is it? Otherwise, they would have believed.
I mean, this deen is success in this world and hereafter.
The deen is successful in this world and the hereafter, in our opinion.
In our opinion.
But in their opinion, they see it as failure.
No,
some of them said, like what the Muslims have introduced to the economy, introduced to industry, introduced to humanity, what they have.
But that's their opinion, it's not truth. Muslims
Yeah, but
have,
why they would be envy us while they don't see us of any significant important? The Arab, they're not, or the Muslims in general, they don't form a power which make them want to be like them.
I don't know, but I think maybe one thing which is still a little bit left is the family ties and
Family
that's-
ties, yeah.
yeah.
We have family ties. A lot of Muslims, yeah, majority. And what else? They pick that up. They say they have strong family ties and relationship and cherish their mom and dad and things. They do. They
And the other
acknowledge
thing
that.
is that we,
So that's one of the things they envy us for, yeah.
the other thing is, which I can think is Qadar Allah, that we don't get depressed by something bad.
Yeah,
happens.
they see you more cheerful, more happy. And they noticed when they were Crusaders came back, they said they didn't help noticing that they were more smellier than the Muslims. But the Muslims were having wudu 5 times a day, having showers. They must have a shower a week. And they didn't help noticing. That's why it came back and opened bathhouses and things. Yeah. Anything else?
They seem to have like a purpose in life.
The Muslims. Do they?
They seem to like know where they're going.
Do they know where they're going? Where? In Saudi or in Egypt?
I think it's number. For example, if I want to speak about my opinion with someone else who is the same opinion, you can't find mass. But Muslims are always in the mass. They celebrate, they do Tarawih prayer.
Yeah, they're
But
still, the Muslims
they still cannot go beyond the limit. They cannot spread their theology beyond
Yeah, the
certain
Muslim,
limit.
yeah, the
They
Muslims
still
have,
feel minority. That's why they envy to us, maybe.
Muslim goes, more of them go, now more people come to mosques and there are social wedding and things. And
There's more
yeah.
of like unity amongst the
Unity,
Muslims and
there's
brotherhood
still
and
unity.
bond between believers.
Yeah, brotherhood, unity, is it unity between themselves or unity with the Prophet? Because unity within themselves, they are so disintegrated, fighting each other and bombing each other
The
and
Prophet
things.
ﷺ as well.
But yeah, when they attack on the Prophet ﷺ, they up in arms and demonstrations and yes, Abdullah.
They don't. We know what our life is for, whereas the non-Muslims, they don't know what.
Yeah, that could be true. Purpose of life. You have a purpose of life, and they probably, some of them, but many of them have purpose of life to make money mainly and dominate. And yeah, any more? If you look in depth into Islam, it's like a system which competes and will supersede the other systems. I mean, I wrote Ray Dalio. Anybody knows him? Ray Dalio. He's the head of Bridgewater House investment, and he's sitting on like $200 billion. He retired now. He's 72. But he very, very well successful person. And he, I'm one of his followers, and then he wrote that he is sitting wanting to chat to people, so others want to chat with him. So I wrote to him three lines that the world is going to disaster through the economy being a lot of money printed and oversaturating market with money, reducing the value of money, and there's people coming out on strikes, and there's a lot of fight, a lot of famine, blah, blah, blah. The second one, there's a problem with reproduction that will definitely lead man to extinction. And the third one is the global warming, which they still haven't got a full solution to it, or strict to the solution. And the fourth one, there could be another disaster with viruses spreading or leaking, like Ebola, which causes 50% death. So he wrote back to me and he said, can I have more of your background? He talks about a lot of this. Islam has an answer for all these. And if they are studying Islam, they don't want Islam to spread, especially those who are the super rich and they want to corner the market and they want everything for themselves. They don't to occupy other countries. They want to steal the wealth of other country. Definitely, LGBT will be against Islamic, propaganda for family values and reproduction, because that will limit and has limited reproduction in many countries. In Japan, less than 1.5, and the same in South Korea, and same in most of the Scandinavian and Europe. They went below the reproduction cutoff line, because they said if you have reproduction of anything less than one, it should be 0.11, and anything less than 0.82, that's the cutoff line. In England now, 0.976, and that's in 2017. I want to look into the national statistic and Office of National Statistics, see how much it is. So already Britain beyond repair. That's UK. In Japan, 1.5, and South Korea, and most of the Scandinavian.
Spain, Italy, lowest. Spain.
Yeah, they have. So if you allow the LGBT to keep propagating for their way of life, that will reduce even more, because the reproduction from the ground zero is not there. They say, oh, we'll adopt, but there's no children to adopt. The children are not born to adopt.
I heard in America now 1 in 5 is identifying as homosexual, and just speaking to people, a lot of parents who have children go to single gender schools, a lot of people in the classrooms are now
becoming same-sex things.
It's like fashionable and something new and trying.
Subhanallah, that's probably because when you read the end of life, how will happen? Why Isa will come down in Damascus, Umayyad Mosque? Why Iman will revert to Medina only? Why Isa will, and Dajjal will be in the Middle East, and Isa will go to fight him? There's nothing mentioned about the Americans and North or West. Probably will gone by now, by then, because the hadith, other hadith, that's one of the signs of the day of judgment, that takthur an-nisa wa taqallu rijal. Women will be a lot, or men will be very few, until the stage when there is every 50 women, there's one in charge of that qayyim, one who is ready to help every 50 women. So I was, when I was in medical school in the 70s, late 70s, they told us that at birth, you have 51 male and 49 females. For every 100, 51 males, 49 females. At the age of 21, that reversed, become 49 males and 51 females. So I went to the Office of National Statistics and went back for nearly 30 years, because they were not collecting the data before that. And I tried to look into this data, and I found no, it's actually more females born. There's more females born. And if you look into friends around you, families, seeing that, more females born. And so so Islam will cut short the destruction of economy by zakah and taking back the capital back to the community instead of printing capital. So they take from the rich back to so the same amount of money will remain, the value will go, but the value will go with other values. So we have, like my house, the value in gold dropped, and the value in British pound went up. The value in gold dropped by nearly 30%, because the house is 29 years older, or 27 years older than when I bought it. So it must drop in price, in gold drop. In sterling went up 4 times. So Islam will solve the economy, and many of them know that. I mean, they study this, and Islam will sort the extinction of man. Islam will sort the global warming, because we have something we studied here is wara', and not to take anything haram, and zuhud, not to take more than what you need. And people go on a cruise holiday for 2 weeks, they spend £10,000 and burning fuel on this massive liners, cruise liners. And now they're going to the sky for £200,000. 95% of the rocket is fuel, and they're burning it and things. Yeah, sorry, Mohammed.
I just wanted to make a point. I came across this new startup company, and they're making artificial wombs, so they'll be able to produce 30,000 babies a year. These artificial wombs, and people that have got sort of issues conceiving, having children, they can then go to these laboratories. They can actually give them their DNA and their fetus and so on. And
Yes, the scientists, atheist scientists, atheist that produce a womb, and in the womb they will grow children, and then mass production. And like Ford, Ford had the idea to mass production of cars, and everybody has to have a car. Now we had this on and off, like the cloning came and said, don't worry, you clone, you live. And then they discover you're cloning yourself as the age of 70, and your DNA coded to die at the age of 78. So you clone yourself. You had a child of note, he will die at the age of 8. So you're not going even to grow to, and they didn't progress with it. There were a lot of lies that they cloned the human in South Korea and Vietnam and things. And they came with a lot of other lies that they can reverse aging, stop aging and reverse aging. And I believe it when I see it.
The person behind it.
There's a lot of lies in the scientific community. They lied about, now they lie about something, and they find that this lie actually helping religion, like Big Bang, and the universe wasn't there. Then they came with multiverse. There's infinite universe. So why? Because they found the corner that we are saying the universe created, you're saying the universe created, there were a Big Bang, there was nothing before the Big Bang. Then you are serving religion. So they came with multiverse and wormholes and there's a lot of, so atheists are not asleep. They look into how you fight them. They will come with a theory. And they say the theory, probably yes, probably not. It is not. But by the time they get to themselves admit to defeat, they will have derailed a lot of believers or people who don't have knowledge. So they have the hasad that you're always winning. Now Islam, when it is weak, it's strong. And they notice within the history now that Islam woke up many times and revived. I mean, imagine the Crusaders stayed for 72 years, 82 years or something. And then Solihull Islamic came out of nowhere. They were out of the area, finished. And then there came, even worse, when the Tatar came and Holako and things, they converted them to Islam. So they study the history, they study Islamic views, and those who have the sinister intentions, they will be jealous from us. And the hasad that we can do the repair. Many of those who became Muslim, I actually asked them, why you became Muslim. Many of them, 80% of them, because they loved the Muslim social life. They loved the relationship between the Muslims and the welcoming and the generosity and things. And that made them jealous, So this is hasad min indi anfusihim, generated by them after they realize that Muslims have the truth. They have answers. Muslims have answers to everything. Now, Amar asked me a question when we were coming back on Wednesday. And he's talking to other kids. And he said, I have 100 questions. I will ask you when I meet you again. So one of the questions he asked me, how is it that they're discussing in the school, if Allah is good, why he's allowing evil? Why he is allowing people to have cancer and die and things. And obviously Allah said to Adam, يخرجنك الشيطان يخرجنكما منها فتشقى. You will suffer if you go to earth. It's not a habitable place. Your place to enjoy yourself is Jannah. So you're going to come down here, and you were living 1,000 years, and then mutation and radiation and illnesses and poor diet hygiene, poor diet, poor this, and your age started coming down and down and down. Even your height started coming down and down. Adam lived 1,000 years. Noah lived 950 plus years, probably 1,000, and then went down to 600, 300, 200, now went down to 39 in Britain, it was the 18th century, and picked up, but it's not breaking above the 100. It's stuck at 80 for men and 85 for women. In America, even dropped. There's 5 years of drop in America, male and female, which is supposed to be the advanced. So we have an answer. Yeah, this is not your final destination. And we were discussing in the school also why they banned death penalty in Europe, because they don't believe there is punishment in the hereafter. They don't believe there is hereafter. So they want the person to suffer in this life in prison. So we're so upset when Jimmy Savile discovered to be child abuser after he died, because they can't take him to prison, put him in prison. But don't worry, Allah Azza wa Jalla said about Fir'aun, النار يعرضون عليها غدوا وعشيا. So Pharaoh and his army are exposed to hellfire day, morning and evening. ويوم القيامة أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. That will be the most severe punishment in the day of judgment. So we have answers in religion. It's like I mentioned to you before that one of the philosophers said, or biologists, he said, if I'm to be created again next life, I know it's me. But to go now and disintegrate, become dust, eaten by fish and worm, whatever, and you create another body and you say, that's me, I don't accept that. Islam has an answer. And I mentioned the answer here. Anybody can remember the answer?
It will be a new body.
But is it your body? Why it is your body?
Well,
Abdullah?
It's your soul. It's not your body.
But he wanted his soul. Saliman?
The body doesn't decay completely. There's a small
Yeah, there's a small piece of you, the end of your sacrum bone, will not go, will not vanish. The Prophet ﷺ said that will stay, and from that piece you will be brought back to you,
like
the day of judgment.
It's like a seed.
Yeah, like a seed, and we all come out of earth, and science came to say yes, that's possible. Jurassic Park, and they brought this film. They found the DNA of the dinosaurs in frozen mosquitoes, and the rest is so. Islam has an answer that it is you. It's this piece left from your body will not be burned, will not disintegrate, will not be rotten, and the day of judgment from that seed. And now man knows you only need one DNA to grow you. This is why they came with this cloning and things. And so Islam has an answer to every difficult question, and that caused hasad. That caused hasad. In obviously the time of the Prophet, Islam came of all the Muslims on one heart, and they loved each other and they supported each other. And the time of Mus'ab ibn Umair was fighting in Badr, and his brother one Sahabi was fighting him, and he said, fight him, don't worry about it. He said, this is what you say about your brother. He said, you're not my brother, he's my brother. So the new Muslim, the Muslim is his brother, while his blood brother, he considered him an enemy. I said, if you get hold of him, his mom is super rich. She will give you a lot of money as a ransom. So this is hasad at that time. From that time, the hasad, because of the love and the caring and unity. And if you look into the Islamic history, there is no war took place between all the Muslims. Would be the leaders fighting leaders, and the rest of the Muslims have nothing to do with it, and they want to cool it down or never joined it. So subhanallah, بعد ما تبين لهم الحق, at that time they realized the truth, and this time, and always you get uprising. Islam never dies. Muslims might lose motivation or lose knowledge of it, but Islam is still there. It's enough for few people to bring it back to. And the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي قائمة على الحق لا يضرهم من خالفهم حتى قيام الساعة. There will be a group of my people who will remain on the truth. Nothing will harm them or stop them until the day of judgment. So and always you find these balanced people. I mean, one person balanced when September 11 took place, George Bush called Hamza Youssef, and he had a long chat with him. And George Bush changed the tone of his speech. He was either with us or against us. We will kill you. We will. And then they started, cooling down. They're going to do, it's not the Muslims, all of them the same. And fa'afu wasfahu. Why? Because they must have done something wrong to you. They must have acted on their hasad. Because afu, if somebody says something, or a voice or an opinion, it's not going to be so harmful. You don't need to, forgive him. But probably here they committed something which is more than hasad. Probably they attacked, or they stole, or they damaged, or they insulted, whatever. But the Prophet ﷺ, Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be more forgiver and overlook the things and pretend never happened till Allah accomplish His purpose. So Allah Azza wa Jal might make you able to bring people back to account and judge them and punish them for what they have done. But while you are in this position, you can't do anything. You just have to forgive them and move on. It's like, how many the Israelis, how many Palestinians they killed. They've never been brought back to justice. How many, when Putin went into Iraq, when Putin went into Ukraine, George Bush stood up and said, how dare he went to Iraq, and he went to Iraq the same way. So his subliminal mind voiced the correct things. That how many they killed from the Iraqis, never been brought to justice. Now we saw a lot of images when these refugees, asylum seekers, they've been tortured and punished, and nobody talk about it. And it's undercover, reporters went and brought videos and things, and they never published it. They never repeated it again. So one day, Allah Azza wa Jalla will bring them into account, and they will have to pay for, because Allah is ala kulli shay'in qadir. Now, you're not going to lose out, because you'll be rewarded for the losses, and that's with Allah Azza wa Jalla. And your reward will be multiplied. Because when you read Surah Al-Buruj, وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ وَشَاهِدٍ. So the people of the trench of the moat, they were killed. They all thrown into the fire and were killed. Allah could have stopped that killing. Allah could have, like He did with Ibrahim alayhi salam. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا. Allah didn't. Why is that? Allah didn't stop the killing of people of the Ukhdud, the people who were killed in the moat, in the trench.
This is the question why Allah didn't stop it. Because Allah lets the humans be khulafa in the earth, and you bring them account to their actions.
Because Allah made them in charge of the earth, and they will be brought into account for their actions the day of judgment. What about these poor people who were thrown in the fire? Why Allah didn't stop it?
So there's, one thing I read was that there's a sunnah of Allah.
Sunnatul Kawn.
There's like a sunnah of Allah, and then
The sunnah of Allah, yeah, Sunnatul Kawn.
Yeah, and
The law of Allah.
Yeah, and then there's the qadr of Allah, the power of Allah. So
The qadr of Allah, the plan, you mean, of Allah.
or power of Allah.
The plan of Allah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
the power.
The power of Allah.
Yeah. So Allah sometimes show His power by doing a miracle and saving people when they seem like they are going to be doomed. But Allah don't do that all the time. So Allah leave it to the laws of the world to carry on. If you are weak and you are not made yourself strong, then you will be destroyed by your enemies. So Allah doesn't do that all the time, but Allah show it sometimes that He has got the power, but He won't intervene unless you do it yourself.
I think it's an answer in Quran as well.
Allah will not interfere until you do it yourself, or you try to do it yourself.
No, Allah has an answer in Quran. Allah says, when the mushrikun disbeliever will say, "Oh, Allah, return me back to earth. I'll be good and I'll spread good." Allah said, "I will return, but you will be same thing." So what same is if Allah prevents, for example, but in general, for example, they will come back, they will do same thing. That person will do same thing.
No, but all of these poor people who were thrown in the fire, why were they not saved, Abdullah?
Because their reward on the Day of Judgment will be even better.
Yeah, that's one. The reward on the Day of Judgment will be better. And something more important, I'll tell you the story.
They were all believers, so they all had faith and believed in one God and believed in Allah.
Yeah, if you believe in Allah, He should save you, not let you burn to death.
That was, they were willing to die for their belief, and they were willing to sacrifice.
It's not like
killed in that manner.
That's your proof that you are prepared to die for you believe, so you die as martyrs, you mean? And
maybe Ashabul Kahf, the kids, they kill kids because kids grow up bad.
Yeah, He saved the people of the cave, made them sleep for 309 years. We have a small example, nothing to do, probably bad example, but to make you think. We have, somebody went out of Syria with the intention of get postgraduate study, become a consultant in ophthalmology, eye specialist. And while he was studying in eye specialist in the hospital in London, he was called back home and made the president of Syria. So he didn't think anymore about getting his degree in ophthalmology. He's now the president. He's in charge of everything. And so if you are told by Allah, don't worry, I'll take you straight to Jannah. Shortcut. Will it be better for you or not? So it's better for you. It's not bad for you. It's better for you. Isbiri inna maw'idana al-Jannah. Prophet ﷺ was passing Ammar ibn Yasir and Sumayya, his wife. He said, Sabran ala Yasir. Be patient. We're meeting in Jannah. Don't ever think about the torturing and the pain. And they both were killed. Yasir killed and Sumayya killed. And Ammar escaped because he vowed something they liked and let him off. So don't worry. You have a shortcut to Jannah. Why not? رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر. That we want to be with Allah Azza wa Jal, please Allah Azza wa Jal, be with Allah Azza wa Jal. Some of them got it very quickly and died and finished. Job done.
I also remember hadith, Prophet said, whatever bad happened to Muslim, it's good. Whatever happened good, it's good. Because when it's bad, they sabr.
عجبا لأمر المؤمن أمره كله خير. I'm amazed about the affair of the mu'min because all his affair, all his incident or life events are good for him. If tribulation hit him or musiba or bad things, and his patience is good for him, and if something good happened to him and he thank Allah, again it's good for him. So it's shortcut. They never actually think about why Allah, like the people, the magicians who believed in Musa. They say, I will kill you. We'll go back to Allah. He don't worry, And I will صلبنكم في جذوع النخل. He said, I will crucify you not on the trunk, the palm tree. I will push you so tight that you go inside the tree. في جذوع النخل. في inside that he will push them, squeeze them on the tree till their body like merge inside the tree because he was so hungry. They said, do it. We'll go back to Allah quickly. It's shortcut. We're happy with that. And that's, subhanAllah, that's the way Allah has made the believers happy whatever happened. If you get it right, you're happy. If you get it wrong, you're happy. Because you pleased Allah Azza wa Jalla, you go back to Him. And سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. We'll stop here the Quran, inshallah. We'll go to the subject. And we only done one ayah, but obviously we are discussing the ayah together. Because the hadith, ما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه بينهم إلا نزلت عليهم الملائكة نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وذكرهم الله في من عنده حفتهم الملائكة. So if you sit in a mosque discussing the Quran, read it and discuss it among yourself, then the angels will come down, the mercy of Allah will come down, and the blessing from Allah come down, and Allah will mention us, inshallah, among His. So keep the discussion. Sallallahu